working on the folders for you guys that you can get shared. So we can share the documents to our folders to Google Drive. So when you open up your Google Drive, you can have all these folders. I mean, all the documents in your folders. Okay, so we covered yesterday SDLC, SDLC, GLC, and also I have shown some of the defect log manually, how you log it in. We went through kind of describe a little bit. I mean, these are the materials actually. You can describe all day, but unless if you guys read it and kind of try to understand what the process is like and how it is, it's not possible by describing all that, but at least get an idea. But as I was mentioning, then I'll try to give you a video. So I'll send out the video of showing just the process of the SDLC, so you can get some idea of what is SDLC. So today we're going to cover the test plan. Test plan, which is falls in under SDLC. Let me open up. Okay, so the test planning, during the test planning, actually, we need to write out a test plan document. So after requirement analysis in the testing phase on a lot SDLC, software testing lifecycle, this is where the test plan takes place right after the requirement analysis. Requirement analysis takes place basically during the grooming session. So during when business analyst gathers all the requirements from the customer or from the client or the business owner, then they break it down, write up stories, and then these stories are groomed, basically bring it to the team and team together, development team, testing team, business analyst, Scrum Master, everybody attend the meeting, and then during that time, actually, the story being exposed or displayed and talked about, then it is clear, makes sense, the requirement, then developers and testers, they point out the story based on the severity level, based on the complexity, time, and other measurements. So complexity, time and complexity of the story, based on that they point the story. So if it's a clear, testable, then story get pointed. If it's not, then it get rejected, or it'll be rewritten by the business analyst or bring it to the customer, make sure they have a clear understanding of what the story explains. So after that, if the story is pointable and pointed, then where the test planning comes in. So during the test planning, we need to create a test plan document. Actually, it records all. Let me bring it over so I can see. Okay, so here's the template for the test plan. So basically, whenever if you ever need to write one, this is how it's going to be. I'll give these documents to you guys. You can have it handy so you can kind of follow this document template and create one. So the test one template. So I wrote a project here, Center for Medicaid and Medicare, like CMS, like version 1.0. It's a draft. So I just created a draft in PDF so you can kind of look at it and review it. So Medicaid and State Children Health Insurance Program Budget and Expenditure System, MBES. So this is a system that, for example, we're working on, and we need to come up with a test plan. So when you work on a project like that, you come up with a test plan, you create a template, the test plan document. So in that document, you create a header just like that, with the project name and everything, and if you have a contract number and everything, and also reviewed by who just joined. Okay. So and if it's an internal document or public facing document, then you write it down also, and then write down the address of the company. So I wrote down the cyberbullying's internal document, our address here. So as a contracting company or as a contractor, you're going to be writing out your company's name, company's address, and everything on the first page, with the header page. And then on the second page, you basically write down a document review history. You create a table just like that, author name, document created, summary changes, and anything that was changed, like the draft copy, the revision history. So this is the revision of the document. So this is like a first document 1.0, and if there's anything changed, the 1.1, then the date's going to be there, and summary of change, whatever was changed there, that's going to be listed under the summary of change and who changed it. So that name is going to be there. So this table may get bigger. So continue on creating it like. Everyone, I just got dropped out. My phone just dropped. So sorry for that. So I was saying that when you make any changes to the document, and this is going to be logged on document review history, and the table can expand up until the closure of testing. So anything changed, anything added, anything modified within the document, so it will be logged over here on this section right there. And then when you come down, there's another table for document approval and commitment. So in that document, there's a project manager's name, the program, if there's a program manager, the program manager's name, signature, their approval, then quality support group, like QA lead, name, signature, going to be there on this table on the document. So basically, everybody's agreeing and approving it. Then you create a table of contents, basically purpose, system background, scope of the um, document or the testing, and limitations and glossary you're going to be doing. So that you design your test plan just like that, or you can modify it, or sometimes you might find the test plan already exists with the company. You can modify their test plan according to your business needs. So you can work on that too. Or if you have to create one, you can just follow this template and create one. It's very simple, very easy. Or you can just follow the steps and add what you need to add and delete what you don't need. So these are the contents that you're going to be entering in your document, basically. Now, at the introduction, the purpose, you write down the purpose of it. So testing for the MBES system, whatever that you're testing for, and you write it down that what it does, what the system does, basically covering up about the system. The 1.2 of the system background that you write down since everyone has been responsible for development, enhancement, such things. So you write down all the details about the system that been developed. Now, under the system background, you also create a table with 2 columns: system and language they use to develop the system. So system that being created is on the left-hand side. You give the name of the system and whatever technology was to develop the system, like ASP, ASP.NET, C#, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, SQL Server, Visual Basic.NET. So these are the languages were used. And also that if there's a subsystem integrated with the main system, then you also provide the name there. Provide also the same languages being used for the development of the system. Same thing with the other system. If they're integrated with the same the main system, then you also describe each system and what are the technologies, what are the languages being utilized, and so on and so forth. So this is what's going to be recorded there on this table. The scope that you write down the scope of the system, and basically the paragraph is there. You guys can go through it, but you can write down the scope of the system. This is the BEMS MBES project, employees and operation maintenance life cycle, in which workflows comprise predominantly of ad hoc change requests and whatever the scope of the system. That's what's described in this section. Basically, is recorded. And then limitation of the system. So what limitation that you have of the system, and that's basically also described here. So they got very detailed information of the limitation about the system. And then you write down the glossaries, like what are those acronyms and definitions of these, like what we have described up on top, that I'll name the ASP.NET, C#. So what are these? So that's the reader, somebody do not have a IT background, maybe some business owners and stuff, they will be looking at the document so they can kind of get an understanding of what other technologies being used, utilized. So if you have acronyms and definitions of acronyms described here, so they get better picture. Who just joined? Okay, so all of you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
you guys
hear you. Sorry, I just
okay.
joined. Did I miss
That's fine.
anything?
No, not really. I mean, we're describing about the test plan. So we discussed yesterday about SDLC, software testing lifecycle, right? So basically, we're talking about a test plan. So we're describing. I'm talking about the test plan document that we need to create during the test planning phase. So we're just talking about the test plan. So no, you haven't missed anything,
Okay, thank you.
pretty much. So thanks for joining, and if you guys can mute yourselves whenever you need to talk, you can talk. Thanks. Requirement traceability section. So here actually you described about the requirement they have provided to us and what we have covered on the requirement. So based on the requirement, how much coverage that we have did on our testing. So it describes pretty much the requirement. So RTM data, the requirement document, and requirements that all that are placed whatever the location is. And this is what's going to be listed on this section. Test approach section. I can hear some echo sound. If you can mute yourself, whoever just joined, you can mute yourself. Would be helpful. Thank you. Okay, test approach. So this section actually describes about the types of software testing performed before this and are placed in production. Unit testing, subsystem integration testing, system testing. So what kind of testing that performed in this system? Unit testing, basically, let me tell you about the unit testing so you get understanding of what are the unit testing. Unit testings are done by developers most of the time, so the testers not involved in unit testing. When they develop their codes, they actually test their codes by doing the unit testing. That's when the developer tested and send it off to the test environment for the tester to test. So then test engineers goes in and do their functional testing and create a script like as an automation engineer, Sdet engineer, that you're going to be basically, if you are working with the development team, a story needed to be tested, you test the story, and during the testing, actually, you are creating your automation script too. So that's a way. That's the way you can bring it to the automation regression suite for do the regression testing. Subsystem integration testing. So if there's another system that needs to be integrated to make sure that those testing's been done, and then do the full system testing. Under system testing, functional test, data type testing, boundary testing, GUI testing, process testing, regression testing, Section 508 compliance testing if they're needed, if there's a requirement for Section 508 compliance. We're going to be actually doing that too, showing you guys how to utilize a tool to do Section 508 testing. Error handling and acceptance testing, and then documentation review. So in that, system testing. Actually, we got all these functions involved, steps involved in that. So these are the different tasks listed based on the needs, based on the requirements. So if the requirements requires all this testing, and those are going to be documented, and how was performed is going to be described, and what was done. So the test plan basically, or I mean, not how was done, how would be done. So test plan is like basically you just write down everything, you document everything on the test plan document, and according to the test plan document, you're going to execute your testing, your performance. So basically, you're going to be documenting it down, and then follow this document and execute all the testing, apart from all the testing on the system. So these are the examples written down, like that there could be various types of testing that you might need for the system, and those are the ones need to be documented on the test plan document, and then you perform accordingly, according to the test plan. Stress testing, load and performance testing. Security testing. If there's a security testing requirement, most of the time the security testing team is separate than the testing team, but sometimes it could be the same team. You have a different team members that performing the security testing. So if there's a requirement for the security testing, that you also perform the security testing. And that is for basically sometimes you use, I mean, most of the time they use a tool that are available to scanning the system, and it'll flag or it'll give you the error or so. There was the security risk involved on the system. And then test, and then 3.2, you got test environment and schedule. So you also write down the test environment, what test environment is going to be utilized for performing those tests. So development test environment, validation environment, and production environment. So if you're testing in a 3 different environments, you write down those 3 different environments and location, what network, where is it going to be? Is it in production network, or is it in isolated development network or other networks that you basically tell the location, or also you can provide the URL along with that too. So it kind of tells you which environment that you got tested or need to be performed, testing need to be performed. Schedule, also you write down the schedule of testing. So describe about the schedule, test documentation, the test cases, pass fail, all these documents need to be gathered at the end of the testing to make sure that those documents and what you're going to be providing, this is what you're going to write down here. And based on that, the document's going to be created, like whatever you have written down, what are the documents that you're going to need to complete the testing life cycle. Like test incident report will be produced and needed for all PRs, change requests, like if there's anything that during the testing period that you have found that which may not be may not work properly, or you think that need to be modified based on a business, maybe which the requirement was clear, but when they developed it and it just turned out to be different. So in that case, that you documented, and then also one of the CR change requests needed to be followed, or if the business owners wanted to change any other requirements during the time, which is going to be change request, and that needs to be documented, and that needs to be included, created and included in it. Test deliverables. Test deliverables basically all the documents that was utilized during the testing phase would be written and input on the test plan document, like a test case, procedures, test incident report, as well as any associated documents like the test data and all the stuff. So the clients receive, review, and accept the test related deliverables. So those are the ones going to be documented. And then if everybody agrees, all team agrees, this document would be implemented throughout the testing phase. And then at the end, it will be submitted as a deliverable to the client. Resource requirements during the, on that section, you have equipment, software, personnel, like allocate of personnel like testers, test engineers, who's going to be doing what task. That's going to be described here, or what are the hours and stuff. Then test materials, anything you need, any kind of material. Test data, like I was mentioning earlier, the test data, whatever is the test data required for the testing, the application of the system, then you provide, you write down and document it down. Then test training, if there's any training needed, like if the new members on the team, they don't know anything about the system, so basically there's a room for also the test training. So you train, or the development team will provide the training, basically walk you through the system and tell you, okay, this is how it works and stuff like that. So you get an idea of how to test. So there is a section for test training. Also, it needs to be documented, so that's the way it is clear to the client. Test methods and evaluation. So divide the test conditions, test progression, data recording, and constraints. So these are the bullet points are actually I have created with pretty much like all bullet points included that would potentially needed for a system, but you may not need all the bullet points for each and every system. So company, like I said, whoever you work for, they may have their own template, own test plan document. So based on that, you can modify that, or if you need it, then you can also follow this guideline, this template, and come up with the one. So that's basically self-explanatory. All the units under FAFSA criteria, screens, data entry, outputs, and utilities. So all the bullet points are recorded there. You can go through this document and kind of try to understand that how it's been written, how it's been laid out. But you can have that always with you, that anytime you need it, you can open it up and modify it, like kind of create another document off of that document. Not only this document, I'll give you another template also, another useful template. So there's a second one now, slightly different than, so I created two different ones for you to kind of understand and see that it's not exactly has to be the same. It can be different. So each one can vary. So that's another test one template. So if you look at this one, it's like slightly different than the other template that I have created. So I just created two different ones to see for you that the different company may have a different test plan documents and different projects. Project to project may vary too. So it's not the company basis, it's based on the project, what project you are working. So if you're working on a healthcare industry or the financial industry, you may have to add or delete some of the stuff. Or if you're working on any of the government system, that might also be different. So these two are different test plans. I'll send this off to you guys after the class done today. You can have them, save them, and review these documents, go through it. You don't have to memorize all of it, but yeah, just gonna need, like, whenever you need it, you can pull it out and modify, write it out on your own, and you can modify it. But most of the time, you would not be involved on writing any of those. It's just a rare case, very rare. But if you are if you're joining in a new project, brand new project, maybe, you know, and a company got it, then if they're hiring you for, you might be involved on helping out some of those stuff. Other than that, there's a team there's a team effort. Everybody would be involved in writing out. So, you know, but it's good to know and good to have experience. So when you're in a team, and if you have the knowledge and expertise, and you can pretty much stand out on that team by supporting with all these documents and stuff like that. So if you're able to manage and handle it, it kind of highlights you and your performance on the team. So it's good to have knowledge, and do not feel shy or do not feel scared, because if you take initiative and start with it, then you can always find help within the team. Or also, you do have these templates. You can just write one out and present it. If there needs to be modified, they can ask you to modify that. So there's nothing to be scared of. So these are basically the test plan templates that we have discussed. From the SDLC. Okay. So now next topic would be, so is there any question on that test plan document? Anyone? Okay, so we're gonna move on to test case development. So it's gonna be the fun part. Actually, this is what going to be your day-to-day activities probably. As a test automation engineer, you would need time to time to perform the test case documents, like create test case documents. And also, it's like most of the manual testers, they create the test case documents. So here's a simple test case document. I'll also walk you guys through a Excel version of it. This is I created in Word, so kind of for the presentation. And most of the time that day-to-day basis that we do create it on Excel spreadsheet, it's easier to maintain and kind of easy for writing out all the cells and columns and stuff like that. It's easy to create on an Excel spreadsheet, but also you can do it on a Word, layout Excel in the Word, and you can create that too. Either way, it can be done. So if you look at the test case document, basically the test case is a process of how you're executing the business process. So anything that you do, like as a user, these are pretty much documented. If you look at the test steps, step number 1, you basically write down the test function or description of. So select to launch any Word document. So if I'm testing a Word document, so launching a Word document, the document should be open and Workshare pane and menu bar. So when you open up a Word document, this is what it should show, and this is what expected result and actual result if it shows there. Like for example, let me show you. If I am opening up a Word document, so this Word document, when I click on it, it should show to the landing page. It should come up to the landing page here. Maybe it has multiple template view and also the navigation pane for the other documents. So when I click on Word document icon or try to open up from there, this is what I'm expecting to do. So in that case, if I write out a test case, select and launch Word document, like if I click on that Word document, it should show there with the option of multiple templates and also the navigation pane to the left to browse to any document. And then my actual result is passed. Now, when I click on that Word document, like a blank Word document, the Word icon, if that did not open what I'm expecting, or if I did not see those on my expected result that I'm expecting these templates to be shown, and if they're not shown, they're missing, nothing's there. If that navigation pane is not there, that means it's failed. It did not do what it's intended to do. So this is basically my test. Is like, so I would write pass or fail over here under actual results. So when I'm testing actually, but the test cases are, these are the cases written out. So this is how it would be written out. And during the execution, you're going to fill out this column right here on this column. So I'm going to share with you guys actually an Excel document, so we can do it on Excel just to show you like how and what the test cases I created on Word and PDF. And let me open up the Excel document and I'll share with you guys. Maybe let me open up the document. Okay, can everybody see it clear?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so this is the test case document, like I was saying, showing one in Excel. One in Word. So basically the same thing, but it is in Excel spreadsheet. So if you look at the test cases also can vary, like someone can write up like this, and also someone can write up just like this. So the difference is maybe the columns or the names and convention how you write it down, but It doesn't matter that how you write, as long as, let me close this up. As long as you are, you have the test steps, and you have description of the step, and then expected result and actual result. This should be fine. But for your record purposes, maybe you can have, I can hear some echo sound. Somebody, if you can mute yourself. Let's see, what is the color 3? Mute color 3. Okay, I muted it. So as long as you have the like a step description, expected result, and actual result, that should be fine. But here the test case name and a subject, like what module you're working on. So test IDs. So if you provide that, sometimes it's like easier for your traceability metrics, like you can trace those, and also reporting the bug. So basically, when you're working with a task repository tool, like application lifecycle management tool, like ALM, HP ALM, or Jira, they would have number already created when the ticket is created. So against that ticket, you can create your test case document, or within that ticket also you can write out the steps. But also you can create a separate document writing out that test, the ticket number. So now here, what I provide, like cyberbullying site that we have. So in the subject, I wrote down cyberbullying, and my test ID is TC, which is a test case, HM001. So home page, I label it as HM, like a home page, home 001, then CB home page, underscore like a test case name, that's CB home, the home page. If I go here, just a home page. So this is the module that I have written down, like a CB home page. Then my step will be launch web browser, browser shall launch. So if I am clicking on a web browser, if a browser launch, it's the first step that you have to do before you get to the site. So before you get to the site, you have your browser. If it's a web application, you have to launch the browser first. So first, you're launching the browser. So that is also on the step that you write down. So you're expecting the browser shall launch. So when I'm clicking over here, let me close this out. Well, let me open another browser maybe. So if I click on the browser, the browser launched, right? So in that case, my task actual result is passed. So when I click on that, if the browser didn't launch, that means fail over here. I should be reporting it as a fail. So now, this issue is not with the application though, but although the step is there, but it's not with the application because we didn't get to the application yet. But we still have to log it here and look at the issue and report the issue, make sure get it fixed so we can test the application. So when you launch it, then you plug in the URL. So basically, you would have the URL that the testing site URL that you would have, and you report it on your test case document. So enter the URL. So basically, you did a copy and paste, or you can type it in. You can enter the URL right here. I got my URL here. If I click on it, so enter the URL right on the browser, and then you should cyberbullying homepage shall display. So when you enter URL, so cyberbullying homepage shall display, right? So that's what shall display is the expected result, and my browser also showing the homepage. So if that is showing the homepage, one second. Okay, I'm sorry. So my browser showing the homepage, cyberbullying homepage. So if I'm looking at my test case right here, the second step, that my expected result was the cyberbullying homepage, and I am on the homepage. So my actual result is passed. Now the actual result, when you see actual result, basically test cases are going to be developed up to here, expected result. But during the execution, you just log in, pass and fail. So during the execution, if you record a pass and fail, that's what the actual result is going to be, and this is the document going to be provided. And for you as an automation Java Sdet engineer, this is your test cases from description here and expected result. You're going to be doing these steps, automate these steps. So you're going to write a code utilizing Java Selenium and enter the URL through your programming, and it will launch and it'll come to a landing page. Now, when you're automating it, how do you know that you landed on a home page? Because if you do manually, you can visually see it. You can visually see it like you're on a home page. It's showing it there. So what you're going to do, basically enter another line of a code saying that this button, or this is the home page button. So verifying anything from the home page. On a home page where you have home button or the logo or the other message. So you're gonna have this tag here, HTML code, actually ID or anything, and you're gonna start a verification. You're gonna do assertion to the code, so it'll verify that your code, whatever you're writing the script, your script will verify this is a home page, and then it'll move on to the next step. So if that home page does not appear, then it will flag this as a fail. So automatically also you do the coding and do assertion, which is a verification, and then if based on the verification, it will pass or fail. But that will generate a different report. So you guys are going to have actually fun doing it when you start doing the Java and Selenium. You'll love it. So I'm just walking you through the process, that since you're going to be working as automation engineer, automation test engineer, but it does not limit you from doing any manual testing or manual steps, because you should know the manual steps in order for you to automate those manual steps. So basically, manual testing, you're just writing it. Now, do any one of you have any question about the writing out the test cases so far? If you have any questions, please pose it and ask me. Better to ask than not asking. So if you ask it, if I can, give an explanation, so you would have a better understanding of how to write a test case. I'm gonna send these documents to you guys also. I mean, I have just a sample written out here, so you can take a look. And that will give you idea of how to write. Now, let me walk through a few more steps so you can kind of probably have a better idea.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. When you get chance, not now, I mean, we'll be doing the discussion presentation. If you really can open a, Notepad++ for writing the codes and show everybody's example, not a long one, just short one as a title page,
Right.
When you open your homepage, you see the title. So when you write the code, the
Yeah.
title will be shown. So if you write it down, this one, and then everybody can see, they'll get a little idea, how does
Right.
it
Yes.
work.
That is the plan for the next week. Yes, inshallah.
Oh,
But we're going to,
oh,
yeah. There's a plan for the next week. They're at least showing you guys something you're going to be doing when you go on the Java class and the Selenium class on July 28th. So these 2 weeks actually preparing you to understand the basics of the testing, and
oh,
you need to know that in order for you to understand what you're going to be doing. So a lot of them that most of them that I'm mentioning that you're going to be working as automation engineer. So if you do not know the manual testing side of it and manually how to write a document, then how can you automate anything, right? So there
okay.
has to be a guideline.
Uh, each project we have to write down the details in Excel of MS Word like that, right? You're just showing us.
Right. So just because not you may not have to write down. Here, what I'm saying is like these are the test cases most of the time developed by the manual testers because they do test entire system end to end, right? So every time they're testing a story, they'll create out like if they are testing like for example, if they're testing this website, right? So they're going to create test cases like that. So they not necessarily would know how to
That's the developer
write.
job, right? You just wanted to say.
No. The testers, manual testers.
Oh, okay.
The manual testers are the one that just do the manual testing. They don't do the automation.
Oh,
So
okay.
in that case, you might find these test cases available to you. All you're going to be doing just transforming these test cases, manual steps to automation. You're going to write a code, launching a browser, then you're going to be doing like entering URL also in your code and utilizing your Selenium, then you're going to land on home page. If you do, then there's a search and verification to make sure that you land on that page. So that's what you're going to be doing. But in case if because a lot of time, even the automation test engineer need to pitch in to write out some test cases. Like for example, if this system is already developed, right, and they have old test cases and stuff like that. Now they're making a modification on some of the stuff. They want to do the regression testing. If they cannot locate all the old test cases, or maybe the old test cases are there, but they're not relevant to the current page, current system, then they might say, okay, Siam or Alad or Israt, since you guys are automation engineers that we hired for our company, I want you guys to automate our application cyberbullying site that we're making some modification. We want to make sure that it doesn't break anything. So I want to run a regression suite. So in that case, what you're going to do? Basically, you're going to navigate through all application, right? You find out what is the process like, right? You just get familiarized with the application. Then you have to come up with a document just like that, like saying that what are the test cases, best test cases that you can come up with that would kind of justify your regression suite.
Okay, so
right.
as a
So you're gonna
SDLC is the Java software engineer. Your employer could ask you to check as a sometimes the manual stuff.
not the manual, but they will say automate, or we need the automation suite. We want to run some regression testing, right? So regression to the automation engineer, you're going to be doing the automating the testing. But in order for you to automate, you have to know the process, the test steps, what you want to automate, like launching the application, like navigating to the application, right? navigating to the home page or navigating to the about page. So those are the steps that you have to kind of write it down. So during your automation, you're writing these steps and you're automating those. So that also they would have a document, solid document, test cases written out, because they do not have any test cases for it, or whatever they had, those are the obsolete, those are the old test cases, no longer relevant to the system that they have. But they also wanted to modify something that wanted to make sure that it doesn't break any other parts of the application. That's why they want to run a regression suite, and they're asking the automation engineers to create a regression suite test script. So in that case, that you have to manually go document some of the test cases that would justify the regression test. Then in that case, this is the document would be helpful for you to know and write it down. So writing is just like we can write launch browser, and this is how you write. Then you don't have to fill out this part of it, but this can stay blank. So you have the document ready. Document can be handed over to them, and this document will kind of prove or show that what you have automated. So that document, like whatever test cases you have created, and these are the automated. And also itself on the script, it's going to say that these are the module and this is what the automation. So a lot of times the automation script, not everybody can understand what you have wrote on an automation script unless they have a development knowledge, or they know that some kind of words that you utilize that kind of showing that these are the modules, these are the steps that were captured on the automation script. But here in the plain English, that when you're writing it down, so that kind of describes that these are the steps that were followed, and these were the modules were tested. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, definitely. Please ask questions, so that I would rather have you asking a lot of questions than not asking any questions, because we want you to learn and understand, make sure anything that we provide to you.
Hello?
Yes.
Brother, I send you a chat message. Can you read it?
Sure. No, the developers don't write the test case. The developers actually don't do any test cases. They know what they would not do. They would not. The test cases has to be written by testers.
Okay.
Either manual testers or the automation testers. So
Okay.
if you're an automation tester on your team, just only one person, and you have two developers or one developer,
Okay.
you may have to do both. You have to write your own test cases and also automate those for the regression suite. Or during the testing, you're going to be testing it manually, and then you're going to use the tool to write down the code, and then that code, like script, you can run it later on, like as a regression suite. So basically, if you do create a test case here on the home module, so after the home module done, developers going to start developing about module, right? So home module test cases you have done, created, tested it. Then in the meantime, while they're developing these, you're going to start automating your home module test cases that you have written out, like right here. So you're going to start automating those. So this gonna when you automate those, you're going to save those, and when they deploy, done developing these, you're going to start manual testing these, right? And in the meantime, when you're manual testing it, in the meantime, you're going to run your the home module suite that you have developed as automation script. So you don't have to manually test those again. You just run your script. Basically, you click on a button, it'll run your script, and it'll verify the home module is working while they have deployed about module on the same environment. So make sure the about module, when they deploy about us module, it did not break anything from the home module. So, and also while you're doing the manually testing the about us module, then after you're done about us module testing, developers are working on join now module. But while they're working on the join now module, you are actually working on about us module to automate test cases that you have tested before.
Okay.
So then this module, that when you're done with it, you're going to merge your code with the home module, so it's together another suite. So when they deploy these to a development environment, you are manually testing the stories on the join now module, but in the meantime, you're running your automation suite for home and about us module, making sure that these two did not have any bug or didn't get introduced to any bug by join now module. So when you run these, it runs fine, then it's good. So you're continuously building your regression suite. So one after another, you're going to continue to run, because if you do the same thing like over and over with them manually, it is a time consuming. So when you create an automation suite, all you need to do, click of a button, you're saving the time. Now think of that, if you are doing all manually, while you're testing these, the functional testing, and do the regression testing on these and these, it'll take a lot of time. So therefore, the automation becomes very handy and helpful, that when you automate any of those test cases, it is easier for you, for the team, for the company to save time and deliver their product on time.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of the automation, automating the test cases.
All right.
So yeah, developers, they grab onto the story, what the story says, they will develop and they'll do their unit testing and verify their code's running fine. They'll just throw it to tester. Now it's up to us how we test it, how deep we go. If you can break the system, that's even better. So as a tester, do all kinds of testing, some weird testing that it'll come to your head. Like, a lot of times that I do on my job, I do something that developers, nobody can think of it, and I just break the system. I just create. And so, I just break it the way, then I report it and have them fix it, because this is our job, to finding bugs and breaking the system. So if you can break the system, it's a good create. Don't think that you need to find a clean test result. Always think for that you need to find some errors, find bugs. We're the bug hunters. Like, as a tester, I'm a bug hunter. So I need to find bugs. I need to find errors. Or if I can break the system somewhere, somehow. If I can break the system, prove that the system is not stable, because you cannot expect every user would be the same, right? So whenever you're using, even though you have instructions, people make mistake of clicking on something different than what they're instructed to do. And if they get errors, that's a problem, because they should not have no error even though whatsoever if they click on somewhere else. So that's what you do. As a tester, you become more like a critical thinker. You think critically and then try to break the system. You write down the test cases, this is what the functionality does, but beyond that, what else you can do to see and validate that it's working, right? So maybe, when you write this test cases, you have written down, click on this, it shows there, then make sure when you click or whatever you do, then you do different things, like maybe, click on some other stuff and see that if it's on your story, if that works. Click, anything that's not written on it, see if you can change any of those, wording, like, highlight those, see if you can delete those, those kind of stuff. Like, it's just randomly, you just do a critical thinking and try to break the system. If there's something that you can change off of it or break, like, you can just delete off of it, that means the system is not stable. You found something that they did not even look, but that they run their code, is running fine, but there's some loophole, or there's a way that somebody else can face that problem. So we rather introduce the bug or find the bug ahead of time before it goes to the production. So when it goes to the production, and if the customer finds it, it looks bad on us as a company, as a software development industry or the company. It looks bad on us, bad on developer, bad on testers. So better to find it during your testing, and if you can break the system, break it.
Okay.
But if on a daily basis, we do use online stores, like for our shopping. You know, we order a lot of stuff via phone or laptop, computers, online we order. Now a lot of times you find something that weird happens. You're trying to click and submit your payment, it doesn't take, or it takes you somewhere else. So these are the bugs, these are the errors actually. But we as a user, we get frustrated. You know, like sometime maybe if there's a problem with the Amazon site, you try to purchase something maybe on sale and you can't purchase it because something is not allowing you to do, then you get frustrated, you just give up and you say, you know, forget it. So think of that, millions and millions of users throughout the world using that site. And what if the million people get frustrated and give up on? So they're losing a lot of money because they could not sell the product. And those users may not come back. Some users may not come back, or some might be angry and call them up and say, you know, so this is a lot of, it's a big headache for the company. So therefore, when the company would have this kind of errors, and they will get mad at the development team and they will just call out and say, this is what happened. So that makes the development team look bad. That's why, therefore, the testing is very important for any kinds of application that makes sure this application is bug-free. And you cannot have 100% bug-free for sure, because there's some minor bugs can be released by knowing it, but it has to be documented. So you know it, and next time you go and fix it. But depending on the severity level of the bug, or prioritizing the bug, then it gets fixed and released, and some bugs get fixed later on if it's a minor bug, something that, you know, can be avoided or can be ignored for the meantime. But it has to be documented, so they'll come back to it. So our job as a tester, we need to break the system, find bugs, report bugs, make sure they got resolved. So as I was mentioning, that automation, for the automation is the benefit of it, that you, as you work through it, like you are creating your test suite for the regression testing. So whenever you do the next module, you run all these three automation scripts. Like, you know, you just click on a button and it is running while you're doing the other module testing. So in the meantime, you see that if the new code did not break anything from these previous codes that you have tested or the developer developed. So this is how you write the test cases. So this is a simple one. I can, so basically, if you look at over here, verify, I wrote down the verify Selenium icon displays on the home page, right? You're verifying it. So when I landed on a home page, I want to verify the Selenium icon. So there's a Selenium icon there on the home page, right? So this is the one that I picked. Let me see if it shows there. Yeah, there you go. So this icon right there. So I want to just verify, make sure the Selenium icon. So I can have this icon, whatever code behind it, I can capture that in our automation script and do an assertion on the code. So it'll go tell me, okay, yes, it is there. So code verification, it is there. So when you verify that this icon is there, that means your step passed. Now, then again, the other step that you have, click on Watch More button to display more pictures or information. So there's a Watch More button there, right? So if you look at this Watch More button, right? So if you click on that, it doesn't do anything. But watch more means like, at least telling me that there should be more pictures, right? Or, more information there. When I click on it, it doesn't do anything for me. So we left that here purposely for us to kind of demonstrate and show that there's something might be there broken link that when developer developed it, it shows there, it verifies that their codes run fine, no problem, no error on their code, but there's a link broken in between. When I click on it, it doesn't do anything. So if this is something that was a requirement that, I need to have a button to watch the show more information to the user, and developer developed it, maybe there's more information there, but this button was not hyperlinked to the information that they have inserted, or the information is available. So it's not connected with that. So when I click on it, it's not going anywhere. That means I found a bug. It's not working. So when I click that, so here the expected result was user shall be able to view more pictures or information, right? So when I clicked on it, it does not show me anymore anything, right? So that means it's not viewing me anything. That means it failed. So this step failed right here. So I recorded it as failed. So same thing with automation. When you click on that watch more button, if it does not show, does not react to next page, basically your code's going to fail. It's going to give an error, or it'll tell that the object is not found, not viewed, and it'll give error, and it's going to be recorded. So in an automation script, there's a way that you don't have to record it over here. Automation script automatically generate a report, and that report would show that this step failed. So basically, would be aligned with this manual steps that you have. Automation step would have the same failure. So is that clear to you guys so far?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So okay. So this is let me send that over to you guys probably via email like this. So I'm gonna send out the document that I have here, actually exactly the same document. So you can. Okay, let me send it over to you guys. Okay, yeah, you guys can check your email to see if you receive it. Can somebody just confirm that you received email with the attachment of Excel spreadsheet? Now, if some of you do not have Excel spreadsheet, Excel installed on your machine, if you do not have Microsoft Excel, you can always use the Google Sheet. Google's, I think, the Google Sheet is free. You can always download and use it on your machine. So no cost to it. And Microsoft Office Suite, I think, is a bit of expensive, so you have to pay for it. But yeah, you can do the same thing with the Google Sheet. Same, it is the same thing, but with two different names. And if I believe that everybody been using Word, Excel, and others, but if you still have difficulties of using it, please let us know. We'll try to help you out and kind of get you familiarized with. Because a lot of time, I mean, I know that we're not from this background. We may not have to. I mean, if you do not have an IT background, or if you haven't attended any of the course that requires to utilize the Excel or the Word or the other stuff, then you may have difficulty using it. But there's some video tutorials on YouTube. You can look at those also and how to use it always. But also, if you need any help, you can always reach out to us, and we'll try to help you. So definitely, you know that you need to learn this stuff in order for you to do your daily task, whatever you'll be doing as a Sdet engineer. Okay, so the test cases, what I would do, I would ask you guys to come up with some test cases, maybe from the cyberbullying site. You can either, each one of you can select a different module, maybe test out and write out some test cases and see what is your understanding of a test cases. They can do it after today, like during the weekdays. We're going to go through the today's class and we can review those. You can send them to me via email or others. Or if you need any help in the weekdays, like you can message me so I can try to open up a session maybe during the weekdays in the evening and help you out on understanding of a test cases. So this is the document actually you'll be dealing with most of the time, the test case documents. Either you have to, if you have a pre-written test case document, then you'll be getting those from the manual testers and you're gonna start automating those. And during the automation, if you find something different than what they have written out, you're gonna be updating this document while you're automating your test cases. You're writing out your test script. On this one, okay. So we have covered test case. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at that one. Give me a moment. Okay, test case document. So we covered the test case document. Now we're going to be covering up a requirement traceability matrix. So requirement traceability matrix in acronym is RTM. What RTM does is like basically it traces whatever the coverage that you have on the requirement. So let me pull out the document and I can explain and go through it. Okay. Document traceability. Okay, so I think this is a bit of a small but hard to see. This is the PDF version of it, and I also do have an Excel. I'm going to send out the Excel one to you guys. You know, so I'll at the end of the class, I'll send out the PDF to you, so you guys can have it handy in order for you to kind of look at it and review it. You may not have to create one. If you're using the tools like a Jira or ALM, they do have pretty much story coverage traceability metrics there. So it does covers all the requirements. Automatically, it'll map whatever ID that you provide and stuff like that. So, 1 second. Yes. Someone trying to reach. And let me pull out the Excel version of it, and we can kind of discuss over. Okay. Okay, there we go. So this is kind of small. It's hard to see probably, but at least let me go through it so you can have some idea. Requirement traceability metrics. So basically, requirement traceability metrics, project by project. So the project name is going to be there, and then okay, project manager's name there, and this is the National Center. The company's name is going to be there, and project descriptions there. The company actually requirement traceability on the right side. Okay, project name, and if you look at so this is for the client name and the company's name here. So that's basically written on the client side and the company side. You write down. Now, the test case ID, like associated as a basically requirement ID, when the requirement document created. Now, each of the modules that got developed is going to have a sign ID. So either if you use Jira or ALM, then there's going to be a sign ID automatically system generated a sign ID. Or if they're created manually, each document would have an ID, like basically home module may have ID of, HM001, and on that HM002, 003, whatever that has, that's going to reflect. So it's going to be the associated ID going to be here, and those are the ones going to be written down. The functional requirements going to be written out there, the status of it, and all that. The column is going to show the technical specification, system comments, and everything is written out. And if there's any additional comments, so the test case number, so you do that based on the home ID, then what are the test cases ID? So the home page ID can be 1.1.1, HM1.1.1. Then your test cases ID will be driven off the home ID. So home ID, it's going to be HM1.1.1, and then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the test cases number is going to be, and tested in whatever the environment you tested in. implemented in, and then verification. So this matrix actually basically would give a better picture. This is like a manually. If somebody is not utilizing any of those repository tools. Here also a little instruction written out there, so you can look at these instructions and kind of follow through the matrix. So this document actually what it does shows the coverage that you have for each area of the application. So when you're mapping, if the requirement is here, these are the requirements, and you're mapping it with your whatever the coverage that we have, whatever was covered to meet the requirement. So basically, this one would be kind of the document to look at, make sure that everything's got implemented, everything got tested, and if there's any issues and stuff like that. So there's going to be comments there. So if I look at, as a business owner, if I look at this document, I know that, okay, these are the modules they have worked on. Excuse me. These are the modules they have worked on, and what they have done here is tested and deployed, and there's no issues. If there's any issues, it's going to be noted, or additional comments that need to write down the whatever the status of it, and what when they release it, and what they are, how they are. So this document would pretty much give me a good overview of my application. So when we do use Jira or ALM, what it does is like it generates, like when a story gets closed and completed, and if you click on the requirement traceability matrix, it shows that this was done, tested. So it has a capability of recognizing each story was created off of a main epic. So the epic base, like in an epic, that you would have all the stories under the epic, and when you close out all these stories under the epic, and it shows that this module was completed. So basically, the matrix is generated itself. So most of the company nowadays using the Confluence Jira, Jira tool for their requirement management, and also test documentation, test cases, user stories, basically, and the other documents too. So they're utilizing those tools to kind of as a repository to do this. So those tools are actually not for those are not testing tools, but those are repository tools. So make sure to remember that, make a note of it. Those are test documentation repository tools for the development life cycle management tools. So whenever you are asked any other questions about the Jira or ALM, that these are the tools that what do you utilize for those tools, then you can explain it. Okay, those are the tools that were used for as a tester, that we utilize those tools for our story testing and our document repository. So also development team uses that for developing their stories and the requirement gathering and requirement traceability. So those are the application development lifecycle tools. So it really creates history of an application that was created. So everything from the day one to the end, everything, all history is going to be under those tools. Is it clear so far to you guys? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the next topic, which is what I have shown is the defect log, right? So yesterday, and let me go over it again today. So when we find a defect, how do you log the defect? So I'm gonna show you on a, yesterday I showed you the PDF version of it. I'll actually show you on a Word format so you would know exactly how to create a defect log. Basically on a Word or Excel, I can do it too. Let me open this up. I'll also send out this document to you guys to create a bug report for me so I can look at it, what is your understanding of it, and we'll also have all the materials that I have explained and discussed. I'll assign you some homework that you have to write out. Just go through these materials and write out some paragraphs based on your understanding. Do not copy off of the material. Just I want the explanation of what you're understanding. So you would be whatever you can describe off of your understanding. You read the materials and what you understood, you just write it down and it will send it back to me. So that's the way I can at least see what is your understanding of it. And if you need to work on kind of explain it better to you, so we'll do that. We're gonna make sure that everybody understand at the end of the day. So here's the, let me make it bigger. Okay, is it better to see? Okay, so the bug report template that I showed you yesterday, right? It's the same template, but I was a PDF copy that I showed you. I walked you through. And here what I have done is I have created, it's a bug that I found earlier as I was mentioning to you. The bug we found was they show more or watch more, right? So this is the bug that we found. We recorded it here. Now we recorded pass fail, right? But it does not end. It's not the done that I recorded on a spreadsheet. No, what we have to do whenever you find an error, we have to report that. Now, how do you report that? There's two different ways of reporting it, or three different ways reporting it. As an automation test engineer, when you have a bug like that, your script will generate a report, failure report, and you'll see that via email or the report generated your test run. When you go through your test script, you'll see the failure. So when you notice the failure, you go manually and verify it. Make sure it's a valid failure, because sometimes it might be your code that you wrote and something is wrong with the code, or something that changed that need to take place also in your code may work. And if it is a valid failure, then you verify, you validate it, then you send out that automated report to the development team or whoever the responsible person for reporting the bug. So it could be any developers that developed it. You can discuss with them and you can assign to them, or you can talk to the Scrum Master of the team, who is basically responsible for all the stories and all the work that being done with the development team and for the sprint. So you can talk to that person and assign to whoever he suggested or she suggested, or you can talk to your team lead and find out who to assign to, or you can talk directly to the developer, whoever worked on that ticket or that story or particular area or the module. Then you can talk to them and also assign to them. So if they agree to fix it, they will assign. So this is the automation is like you just hand off your report or you create a Jira ticket based on your finding. You can attach your screenshot that was taken by your automation script and also step to be produced. You can write on the Jira ticket and report it to them. So, and sometime also you can take the screenshot or the steps that it takes. So if you send up the screenshot and the steps that on your automation script, the developers knows that where it is and they'll find it from there. So the one way is like sending off your report to them, but it has to be logged, documented. If there's no tool used for the bug tracking tool like a Jira or ALM, then you create a manual document just like that. So when you create a manual document just like that, you provide ID number, which is like test case HM001, as I was writing down test case TCHM001. That's my test case, right? So my test case I run, and then the name of the page is the CV homepage, the cyberbullying homepage, and the reporter, my name is Murshad, and submitted date, like I can put today's date, 7/8/2018, and then the summary. While I clicked on watch more button on the home page,
You kept it 88.
Pardon?
You kept it like it's 0788. I mean, that was wrong.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, you're right. Thank you. A good catch. You're going to be a good bug finder. Who was
Okay.
that?
This is
Who was that?
Shamsul.
Okay, Shamsul. Yeah, that's good. This is a good. Sometimes in the documents too. Also, even though on the text itself, like a lot of times that we're not responsible for testing any of those, but you might find some grammatical error or the spelling errors. Then
Correct.
we also need to report those. So whatever we write there, right? If there's any spelling error, grammatical error, we do
Okay.
report that too. So, well, that's a good catch. Thank you.
No.
Keep your eyes open just like that. If testers got to keep their eyes open always. Good catch.
Okay.
Okay. So submitted date, today's date, right? And what is the summary? What are you gonna write? You're gonna write while I clicked, right? Or you can say as a user, I clicked on watch. I mean, I said I just wrote down while I clicked because I was testing it, right? So I said while I clicked, or you can write anything. I mean, how summary you want to write that, make sure the understandable summary. So when I clicked on watch more button on the home page, it did not view any pictures or information. So URL that I provided, this is the URL. It'll take you to the home page, right? And then I took a screenshot. You see the screenshot of it, and I highlighted it. So what I did, I took the screenshot and I used the Microsoft Paint for it to highlight that. Also, you can do it from Word, I believe. Somehow from a Word, there's a design page or something like, and you can also do it from there. But I do mine on, I take the screenshot, usually do it, take it to Paint, and it just gives a different way of kind of highlighting things. So from there, then I pasted it here. So it is showing the which button that I clicked and did not show more or watch more, did not allow me to watch more pictures or information, right? So platform that I utilized was Windows. Now my operating system was Windows 10, 64-bit, 8 GB RAM. So it's a description. So that kind of gives them also the clue of whether it was the system that did not or did malfunction, right? And the browser that I use, Chrome for 64-bit, right? So Chrome, well, the 64 is a version probably, yeah, the version, the Chrome. So Google Chrome browser, and the severity level is a minor. It's not a major severity level. I wrote down a minor. The reason, because if I don't see that information, it does not pull me for anything, right? As a user, if I don't see it, like there might be more information. It's just like minor thing. So that's why I wrote it as a minor, right? And assign to, like, for example, the Greg Mia, he is one of our instructor actually for automation for HP tools. So what I did is, like, basically I assigned to him here his name. He's a developer of this module, right? Homepage. So I assigned to him. Now the priority level, is it a high priority? No, because the severity level is low. Priority level, would stay low automatically. Now sometimes the priority might get high, even the severity is low, like based on really do they want that to be implemented there. So prioritizing based on that, what the customer want, so severity level is like it's a defect severity, like how bad it is, and prioritizing like whether it needs to get done sooner or later. So these two differences you write down. So description, well, in that description you describe pretty much the same thing you wrote over here. One first contains. So what I can do, description, basically you just copy these and paste it here. Okay, and step to reproduce. So basically, step to reproduce here, you're gonna write your pretty much the test case, right? So whatever test case you run, right? You just write all this stuff, launch browser, Control C. I'll do here, Control C. Okay, launch browser, right? And then I'll do same thing to step 2. So basically your test case is going to go there. You don't need that the verification for the reproduce, so you can directly go to that, the last one, which is so enter URL there and then click watch more button to display more pictures or information, right? So this is a step to reproduce. So when developer goes launch and ch launch. Okay. And ch. Okay. So when developers find this document, right, so they know where to go, how to reproduce it, and they can work on that, the bug, fixing that bug. Now, expected result, okay, so this is going to be your expected result of what you are expecting, right? And actual result, okay, so actual result would be on page. Okay, did not view pictures or information. No, no, no. Okay. Okay, not actually that is not able to view more pictures or information. Okay. So if there's any other notes that you need to write down, like anything else that relevant to your findings, you can write the note below, and then you can send it to assign it to the developer, and also you save a copy to the project folder wherever you're working off of. So this is the one way creating the manual test cases. I mean the manual the bug report, but also the other would be like I said, the automation that you create one, either you have that screenshot attached to it here, and also create that if they're not using any tools. But if you're using one of those application lifecycle management tools, like a Jira or ALM, then you can also create a bug ticket itself, and then you write all the steps, like a step to reproduce, take the screenshot, enter it, or also if it's an automated script, then you also attach that automated script screenshot to that the bug ticket, and then assign it to the developer. From those management tools, you can directly assign to them, so they'll receive an email notification that they have bug open, and they can look at it and remediate it or mitigate it. And depending on the workload, you can also discuss with the team lead or the scrum master that who it need to be assigned to. So that's based on discussion with the team discussion. We can do that, discuss with the team. So is it clear so far? When you find a bug, I showed, walk you through the test cases, basically how to create a test cases, right? How to write test cases. You can write on a Word or Excel format. And then when you find a bug, basically how you log a bug. Is that clear so far to everyone?
Yep.
Okay, great. So is it okay if we go ahead and take a break for 10 minutes? We can be back at 12:10.
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll see you all at 12:10. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, brother, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, welcome back. I'm gonna go back to discuss. All right. So we're gonna. Yeah. So everybody was clear on that, and I'll send out those test case documents, PDF and Excel, and also the bug report that which I sent one PDF yesterday, but I'll send you up. Send you out to that the Word document, so you guys can practice. And also, I'll ask at the end probably give you some homework assignment that we can discuss next week. Like you guys can write out some paragraphs and other the test cases for some sites. So I'll give you those assignments, inshallah, at the end of the class. So let me pull out that document, test analysis report. So that's the last thing basically we do, the test analysis report at the end when we complete the testing of anything. Let me bring that up, test analysis report. Okay, can everyone see the screen test analysis report template?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the test analysis report. So when do we have a test analysis report? A test analysis report after you're done testing and you write down the details of findings on that report. So basically this one concludes your testing. So that's your conclusion of testing, that what you have done on the testing and what you have found on the testing. So this template basically would be created by the testing team or test lead in your team. Okay, I can hear some background noise from caller 8. I'll mute you. Mute caller 8. Okay. So if you need to talk, you can unmute yourself. It says caller 8. I don't know who is it, but anyway, if anybody need to talk, please check yourself. If you're muted, you can unmute and talk. So basically, on this one, test analysis report, you write your project name. I mean, the project name, whatever the project that you're working on, and document prepared by your name, whoever prepared it, document date, and document reviewed by. So these document will be created. I can hear some noise. Somebody. Can you mute yourself? All right. I muted everyone. Can you all hear me? Still, well, one person can unmute yourself. Let me. Okay. Brother Shamsul, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
So everybody, okay, I'll mute you again. Or you can mute yourself, please. Okay, good. Thank you. So if you, I keep you guys muted because there was some background noise. So for everyone to hear clearly, if you need to talk, please unmute yourself and you can talk, or then you can mute yourself again. So that's the way nobody else get distracted or disturbed. So thank you, appreciate that, and it will probably help everyone, including me, to stay focused. Thank you. So as I was discussing that, the document prepared by document date, document review by name. So whoever review, like it could be your colleague, coworker, or if the team lead, test lead is creating the document, it can be one of the testers that are also reviewing the document. So it's a team effort, and also the purpose of the reviewing it, so make sure that whatever we're writing it's writing correct, and make sure we're not writing anything that we have not done or we have not looked at. So that's why the document review is important for the test analysis report. If it is created by one of the tester, then the second person or the test lead can verify the document, review the document. So test analysis report basically writes out the overview of the project or the testing. You write and a purpose of the testing, then scope of the testing, and you also reference documents that what you have used. So you can also reference documents that. So the security section also you described about the security. Any security condition associated with the system or the module, if there's anything that involves the security risk or vulnerability, or anything need to be looked at, and those are the stuff's going to be basically captured on that report. And then again, glossary, test analysis here in this section describe the result of each test performed. So test, whatever test was performed on each stage, each level of that, and you provide the test name of whatever the module that you worked on and stuff like that. System functions, also your high-level description of a system function, tested description of capabilities, design. functions are contained in that section. So each system function should be described kind of separately. If needed, many of the functions were tested, so it can be captured separately on that document. So functional capability of the system should be recorded there. What are the functional capabilities? What are the obstacles, if there's anything that need to know or is found during the testing? So that also need to be addressed here on the functional capabilities of the system. The performance capability of the system, if there's a performance deficiency or performance variance or slowness that you have noticed during your testing, then that can be also mentioned here, not necessarily you need to do a performance testing on it. So performance, sometimes you can see it when you're clicking on something and just taking time to retrieve or view. So that can be mentioned here, but before it mentioned that you need to actually, when you come across of any of the performance issues, it needs to be addressed before you get to that far to creating a test analysis report. So it needs to be discussed with the development team, with the team lead, and issue was found early stage, and if there's a way to mitigate the issue or resolve the issue, then it should be resolved. And if it is the way it is, that needs to be written out, then also it needs to be addressed on a performance capability section for the test analysis report. Okay, software and hardware requirement findings. Software and hardware, whatever findings that you have found during your, 1 second, please. Let me. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to just apply a message, so I didn't want to get distracted. Okay. Sorry, I'm back here. Okay. Now, software and hardware requirement findings. So this section summarized the test results organized according to what numbers requirements listed on the traceability section. So test plan, each number of requirements should be described in separate section. So software, hardware requirements and findings also can be listed here, or is it more than one finding that can be reported separately, or a separate section. Requirement numbers and names. So requirement. So the requirements that originally from that the customer business requirement, that numbers and names should be documented in this section, and also on a traceability metric there. So whatever is written on the test plan, basically from there you can write that requirement number and names of the project or the module that have been worked on. Now the findings section here, you describe briefly about the findings. So whatever was found during the testing, that should be documented here in the findings section. And limitations of the system or the software, what are the limitations, what it can do, how much it can be done with that, and so on and so forth. So basically, you just write down the limitations of, like, if you test and find something that cannot be, for example, use many users at the same time. You cannot use login or anything that limits from utilizing the broader range of user users, then it needs to be documented. So like if we do log in like a multiple testers at the same time, and the system kind of throws an error, or does not connect, or it does not allow, or it takes a longer period of time, so limitation could be measured from there, and it should be noted here. Summary and conclusions demonstrate the capabilities, system deficiencies, like I said. So there's like what are the system deficiencies, and what are the capabilities of the system that should be reported in this section. System refinement. So if there's any refinement needed or has been done on the system, that can be reported here in this section. Recommendation and estimate. So also based on the findings that can be recommended, whatever the recommendation was made to the team, or what are the solutions for it, and estimated times and cost and everything can be also declared over here. Now, test problem report. So that's also the problem that you have came across during the testing, or anything that you can find, any complexity of the project or the scope should be reported here. So analysis approval determination form. This section contains one copy of the test analysis approval determination form. So approval determination, now test analysis report needs to be approved, or there should be a separate form that needs to be described here, that whether the findings and it was determined that it was approved based on the findings and stuff like that. So this document itself will be reviewed, and also it can be recorded here that the approval was done by, or the determined the analysis approval was determined by so and so such and such. So those are the documents also can be recorded here. So itself, there's a paragraph there, so that describes there. So basically, if you look at that, I mean, these are the documents that most of the time are done by team lead, so you don't have to worry about it. But if there's needed, they got this copy, or they would have a template. So believe me, at my career, I have not probably done any of those documents, did not even create any of those documents except for the teaching here, that I had to put some time to come up with the document and create a document. So other than that, I did not even have to create one because each company or each agency that I worked with, they have their own document, and I had to kind of modify those, work with the team, modifying those and update those based on the needs. So you don't have to worry about it. These are the documents that were given it to you, so you have the idea of that if you get this document or see these documents, you don't get scared, or you know about this. You can talk about this, like this is what, yes, this is how it is, this is how it needs to be documented. Yes, I know about it. So the stuff. So go through these documents, make sure try to understand it. There's a lot of it that would not make no sense, but as you know the what needed and what needs to be included in it, it will make sense eventually. And the documents changes based on the project. So you don't have to have everything on the document So like I was giving an example of one of the, a test plan document, like there's the two different ones. There's a differences between those two. You might notice that. So the project to project, it will change. If you go to a different project, it might change. So based on the requirement, based on the project, it will change. So same thing with the test analysis report. Basically, some of the structure, some of the stuff that needs to be stay solid that you need, and some stuff you may not need. So depending on what you are providing, what you have done on your test plan, what you have tested, and based on that, you're creating your test analysis report. So this is the last one of, test analysis report was the last one of SDLC, SDLC, and DLC. So we have covered. I'll just try to recap some of the stuff, and we'll have discussion and discuss probably if you guys would like to practice on, we can do that, and we'll move forward onto other topics probably. We can prepare. Yeah, so this is all things. Okay. All right. So, is there any questions on our test analysis report? Do you know what and how want to implement a test analysis report? Anyone have any questions on test analysis report? Can you all hear me though?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. Anybody have any questions on the test analysis report? And I would like to actually know.
Analysis reports templates is I think is provided by the employer, right? Or you have to create yourself.
No, yes. What I would do, I'll provide this template to you guys, but each company has their own template, but based on the project, right? They modify it, like a project name can be entered. You're gonna have a template, then you have to modify it.
Different type of templates, I believe.
Right. I mean, you may not have to, as the automation and test engineer, believe me, I mean, like for me, it's like, I have done my few times of my lifetime. So, I mean, the current project, I don't even do anything. There's a team, there's somebody else does it, even though I don't even do that. So as an automation test engineer, you probably would not even be closer to it. But yes, if needed help, like I said, these are the most like for your knowledge to know it, make sure that if needed, if the team requires any help, that you don't get scared away or don't walk away from it. To make sure that you have knowledge about it and you can jump in it and say, yes, I'll help or I'll do it. So this is something that you have to be prepared always. Like you don't want to be just a single task person. So you want to be versatile, you want to be multitask. So you need to know these stuff. If there's needed, you can go ahead. But these are the templates going to be available for you. You can implement something. If you do not have anything, any documents, you can utilize these documents and kind of come up with a report. But test analysis report based on the requirements that you have, based on the test plan that you have created, or test plans being created, and all that. So if there's any, like I said earlier, if there's a company that just started or just got a contract from a government agency and they're starting on a project, new project, and if they hire you, they want automation guy with experience of, definitely any automation test engineer need to have experience or knowledge about creating these documents. It doesn't matter whether automation test engineer or manual test engineer. they have to have any test engineer needs to have ability or knowledge to create these documents. So these are the basic fundamentals of testing. So you have to know it. Either you manual tester, automation tester, asset engineer, because they're all same. Everybody is doing the same thing, but the task is different. But these everybody needs to know. So when needed, then you are available and it should be able to perform it. So most of the company would have, most of the agency would have their own template where they've been doing it. And unless if it's a new contract and they do not, if the company do not have any template, you know, then if they ask you to create one, yes, you'll create, you should be able to create because you're getting these documents to you, you'll save them, make sure keep them with you, and they might need it down the road. So yeah, it is easy to follow steps and creating, and this takes place after completing your testing. So this is like basically when testing's been done, someone can start working on it like based on what the requirements was, what the test cases, what the other documents was creating, and you can start early ahead to kind of create a draft. And then when testing's done, complete, then you can write the summary, complete summary report of the testing and document, create these documents.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions from anyone? Brother Aulad, you're not talking, so are you okay on understanding so far the documents that I'm explaining? If you don't speak up, please. I mean, it is important for you guys to know and learn. At least have the knowledge about it. You may not be working daily basis on these, but you know, time to time you may have to. So depending on where you get, where you join, what company you join. So if anybody have any difficulties or any documents like this one or any other document that I have explained before, SDLC, SDLC, and stuff like that, so you know we can go over those again. Okay, so we discussed yesterday what is software testing, right? So can anybody just explain to me out of your understanding what you understood yesterday for a little bit of time that I spent to explain, if you can just tell me a few sentences about what is software testing, then you know we can kind of discuss and elaborate more. And so that's the way you guys have the practice of understanding and knowing it, like as a class. If we discuss, everybody else listening, they would also know that you know what is the software testing. So can anybody explain me or tell me about a few sentences about what is software testing?
Yes, brother.
Any volunteer? Okay, who's this?
Yeah, it's like whatever I understand, like the SDLC is a like the process used by like the software for the design and develop and test high quality uh, by like softwares, and it's like uh, they define the task perform at each step in the software development
Right. So
process.
yeah, you're closer. Like yeah. So basically, software testing is just it is a process. Testing is a process to follow to gain or to get the quality of uh, the, the software that's
Right.
being developed, right? So anything that this is a process, basically, like simply that if you look at that paragraph, I mean, there's a lot described, but whenever you talk, make sure you understand and what it is. What is testing? You're just following a process and
Yes.
executing the user business rules or the business rules executed
Right.
to gain expected results. Basically, whatever the business rules are, and make sure you're finding it. So that is
Right. I
basically
mean,
the software testing.
I'll be more clear maybe when you will show me like the practical.
Right, right.
Right.
So did it clear out when I showed you earlier?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So that's basically like, if I'm like, as I was saying earlier, so when we clicked on these, right, what my expectation was that I need to see more, I did not see more. So if I don't see it, and this is the process I'm following, like looking at launching these, clicking on these, right? There's a process and a business rules that I'm following. Like if the business rules is like you click on these and go and see more information. And if you don't see it, that means it's a bug. And also the process to follow kind of provide a quality the software, and meeting the expectation of the requirements.
Right.
So these are simply like with a simple few word you can say it like that. There's a lot actually. What is the software testing? Is a lot described on it, like a process. It's like if you look at over here, simply says testing. Testing is a process, right, rather than a single activity, right? So if you
Right.
look at that, this is like a process. So it's like on this one it says it's a process. Then he said the process to gain what, right? Why you're utilizing this process to gain what? So you can say that, to get a better quality of the software that meeting the requirement, So yeah, just read through it and kind of come up with a good paragraph that you can describe about the testing. So I'll give you some homework assignment. You guys can look through it and kind of write it down in your words. Like you don't have to write down exactly, copy it from the document, but look at the document, write on your own words based on your understanding. Okay, and
All right.
yeah, so there are some testing, the different testing that explained on this document, like what we do day-to-day basis. There's a lot of different testings that takes place, right? The name differently.
Right.
At the end of the day, all the testings are pretty much the same. Same in the sense that I say is like meeting the same expectation or same requirement, meeting the goal. So the testing, uh, functional testing, regressional testing. What is functional testing? Functional testing is the process where you test the functionality of the application, like if the application is functioning properly. Basically, what I was showing earlier, that if that application functions properly, like when you click on any of those buttons, right, any of those links, any of those buttons, make sure they're functioning properly. Make sure they're meeting the requirements or expectation, like expected result. What we have written down, that what is expected, and what I see. So when we are meeting those results and finding it's working properly or not working properly, so that's called functional testing. What is regressional testing? Regressional testing is like anything done within, like after deploying a new code or after fixing a bug. So regression test is like basically whatever you have tested before, and that part of it's got to be retested within the new code deployment or fixing a bug. Like when we found the bug here, watch more. So this is a bug. We report that bug, two developers, so they fixed it, right? So when they fix it, then we have to test this bug, make sure this is working now because they fixed it. And also we have to test the other existing modules that are there. So that's called regression test. Making sure that the new bug fix did not break anything else from the application. So everything else is going to be tested. So that's called regression test.
All right. So I just want to share something, Nurshad bhai.
Sure.
Every time the bugs is fixed, we have to be check that bugs after fix not correlated with anything else. That's called regression. Is that you want to say, right?
Right. Well, actually, the bug, any bug fixes, so anything that's surrounding, so anything is correlated, like bug fix on the home page, right? So on the home page, the bug is found in the home page here. So home page is pretty closer to also about, or within the home page, there's some other functionality there, right? So this is like a button. So we have to see the WhatsApp, so we can kind of do the regression test on the entire home page, right? We see that this function is working, and then we can do regression tests for the other function on the home page, right? So that will kind of give me confidence. Okay, they did not break anything off of the home page because this bug was fixed on the home page. And then again, I can also test these to see if there's anything else also break on that. So if we have a regression suite built, then we can run this regression suite. So that's why I call it regression testing. So regression testing is like a repeating testing again, like with the module and within that area of the module or the application.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, after fixing, it's not causing anything else.
Right. So even the not only bug fix, like if you have, like as I was mentioning earlier, the regression test also takes place when new deployment occurs, like when you're deploying a new code to development environment, maybe or the test environment when the developers deploy new code. When you're testing this module, like about module, right? So make sure also these codes are actually merged with the home module because they're now together. So this was developed prior to about module, since it's an incremental deployment. So they're doing a module by module. So now these two codes are merged together. So when they deployed this code, they did not look at those codes because they worked on these codes only. And since it's merged together, you need to do a regression testing on the home page because of the about us code was deployed. So the regression testing is being done also when the new code's deployed as an incremental within the same application, then also needs to be performed. That called regression testing.
Okay.
Okay.
The another thing I was gonna say,
Sure.
that's not related to that question you asked.
That's fine.
Java Sdet, what we're gonna learn for next couple of weeks. Are we gonna learn for website only, or are we gonna learn applications and some software as well?
Okay, so basically, what WebDriver, Selenium WebDriver we're teaching is an open source tool, right? And that tool is like a more demanded in a market because nobody has to, none of the company has to pay for anything. Like if you go with the HP tools that we have, we also teach HP tools, but those are licensing tools that you have to pay for the licensing. Therefore, most of the companies are moving towards the open source tools and also the government agencies too. So in order for us to utilize that WebDriver, it is working with only web applications. So Selenium WebDriver is working with browser-based applications. So anything that you can view on the browser, and that can be done. So we're testing, we're going to be learning a Java, core Java, basically whatever requires for Selenium to build your test and test suite. And also there's going to be some tools we're going to show that you can integrate with your Selenium WebDriver and also Eclipse or IDE, IntelliJ IDE, so that you can perform your testing and you can write codes and test your codes, run your codes against the web browser applications. So, and also there's going to be the SQL. There's going to be the SQL course there will show for the test engineers to know also SQL queries and also understand about the SQL queries to make sure that you're prepared for that. As we're doing like for SDLC, SDLC, and also I will be conducting Section 508 testing for you guys to have a knowledge about it, so you know that if needed, anytime that you can provide some inputs and help, or you can probably gain knowledge from it, and also if needed, you can further educate yourself onto that field, that side of the house, and be expert at it. So we're going to be teaching that. But for the Sdet engineer, basically, you're going to be dealing with most of the web applications. And I don't think any of the client-server application would work, because the client-server application most of the time are not web-based. It's just a client. Basically, the client has a application that which connects with the server, and it just goes from that application residing on your client, and it talks to the backend server and views the application. The client server application are not testable by the Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDrivers, most of the time, not most of the time, it is working with browser applications. So it can work, you can test on IE or Chrome or Firefox or Safari, any browsers. So that works with any of those browsers.
Brother, I have little, unnecessary question for this page, but maybe little run.
No question is unnecessary. It's fine, not a problem.
No, you can see that page like welcome to the cyberbullying, and under the the cyberbullying is like the training. Like you can see that the third line is like I feel that it's not clear for the background picture. So if suppose like the owner or like the customer say that like I don't clear that word, so you need to be change that.
Right.
Or highlight.
So now, and absolutely, I understand. So this is what you're saying here. Like it's not readable like clearly. This one here, right? So yeah,
Right.
it is like if the business owners don't like, if the design the developer did it right when they designed it, even as a tester, if I feel that it's not visible, it's not clear to me, and I don't think that you can make a recommendation. So what's going to happen is like the design is the same way as per requirements. Developer will argue and say, well, this is what the ticket says, and this is what I did, blah blah blah. Then you can write up and convince to write a improvement ticket, so they can do another ticket improvement based on that. It's not a bug, but it's the improvement of kind of make this the image kind of faded and a little bit of brighter, like so you can see those writing there. Or the font color need to be changed. Maybe you can say this font color maybe need to be in a white or whatever that would be best to view, right? So if I do font color or this on a font background, maybe there's some other colors need to be inserted to see it better, right? So those kind of stuff, yes, absolutely, yeah. Anything, even though, although this is like a more like a graphic design, but still, if it does not make sense or if it's not clear, visible, what you're trying to show, then definitely it needs to change.
Thank you, brother.
Sure, not a problem. Yes, always recommendation is needed, and as a tester, we are acting as like an end user. So how
Right.
the end user would feel that you have to have the same mentality on you, that if I'm a user, that if I do see it, what kind of problems would I face? Like people with a low vision, like they cannot see that, right? So that's like a, it's not a compliance to Section 508, right? So if it's a government site, then all the government system requires 508 compliancy for the disabled folks, the low vision people, or the colorblind people. So they cannot see that, they cannot differentiate between the background color and the text color. So that would not be compliance for automatically. It's a failure. That would be a bug for if the requirement says Section 508 compliance is required. It will be bug. But other than that, it would be more improvement tickets for other agencies. So yeah, definitely. These are the stuff that we need to mention and address as a recommendation for improvement. Okay, so going back to the software testing that we were discussing, what is software testing? So what kind of testing? So we did the functional and regression testing, right? Then we also do the smoke testing, ad hoc testing. So what are the smoke testing? What are the ad hoc testing? Smoke testing basically does not have any requirement. It does not have any of the test cases. It just randomly tests. Like anything on application, it just tests like without any test cases. Basically, you go in and like as an automation test engineer, if you want to build a smoke test suite, you go out and you don't need to write down a functional test cases. Like you can just go launch the browser, log into the site. You're gonna click on home page, click on any of those register, make sure register works, register link works. You can click on that, see if you can go to register. You can click back on a home page, make sure home page works. Then you can click on about me site, it working, and then you can click on the cyberbulletin logo and make sure that that is working too. So the smoke test is just like a randomly testing of any page, any module, or any link, any button within the page. So that's called smoke testing. Basically, there is no set test steps, no documented test steps. So basically, this is what it does. And that is called smoke test. And there's a called ad hoc testing. So ad hoc testing is also basically there's this small set of test cases. It's not a broader full functionality. Ad hoc testing could be maybe out of the home page. If you have maybe 10 test cases there, it could be one of the test cases that you pick out. Maybe just make sure this link working, and could be anything from one test case from here, whatever functional test case you have, and those daily basis you run, or maybe scheduled to run, could be ad hoc testing. So basically, ad hoc testing has some sort of test cases aligned with, but you are not doing a full functional testing. So that is ad hoc testing. So we covered ad hoc testing, okay, smoke testing. Now, sanity testing. So sanity testing basically has been done like yesterday we were mentioning, like right after you're setting up your environment, basically test environment, like you set up your browsers and everything on your computer based on the requirements that you downloaded, all the browsers that you need, and any other tools, any other plugins that requires for testing your website or application. Then after you're setting up, you run a small test, like anything that makes you click here or there, or launch application, make sure it's launching, and anything you do, that's like a more like a smoke testing. But sanity testing is like kind of verifying and validating the environment is working or your tools is working. So that's called like a more sanity testing. It's like connectivity is there, you're able to launch it, and you're able to make some connections between tools, between your browser to application service. So that called sanity testing. Is just like a primarily verifying your environment working or your tools working. Okay, sanity testing, and then load and performance testing is also conducted based on the user volume. So if you have a large user volume, then definitely requirement would be automatically that requires load and performance testing. Load and performance testing. Load testing is done by certain tools, which is Load Runner, Performance Center, owned by HP, and now actually by Micro Focus. And also there's a JMeter open source tool used for volume testing. So they can just probably load the volume like a continuously run the iterative testing or the volume testing. So load and performance testings are done to kind of see that if any application, any web application, how much load it can take. So at a time. Maybe if you have intended users of 5,000, and then you need to load up 5,000 users at a time and make sure run that the business rules like log in or browse through the application or do some sort of activities, shopping. So whatever the most of the time the user is going to be hanging out or the browsing. So that part of the application needs to be tested with that many users or more. So then it kind of find out and figure out what your configuration needed and what configuration you'd be setting up for your application. So you can kind of configure your application or the service based on your need, based on your findings. So the performance testing also is similar to the load, but performance testing is more kind of looking at the performance of the application, verifying by providing load, you run it for a longer period of time and see if there's any leakage on the application, or if there's any bottleneck where you get the crashing on the site or anything. So you run it for the longer period of time to see. Stress testing. Stress testing is like you're stressing out the system. Basically, these are the load performance and stress testing done by the same kind of tools, like HP Load Runner, HP Performance Center. So the stress testing is like basically there is no ramp or there is no gap between the users logging in. So you load up all users at the same time. Like for example, we had I think everybody is familiar with healthcare.gov site. That when we had when they launched it, healthcare.gov site, and asked everyone to register the healthcare for the healthcare, and everybody logged in at their site at once, and the system crashed. Same thing happened with when election happened on last 2017. Right after the election result, everybody tried to log into the Canadian government site to kind of apply for, and their site also was slow or crashed down because so many users logged in at the same time. So that kind of gives stress testing of the system or the application. So when you're loading up all the users at the same time, you're seeing that if your application can handle all the load stress that put in at the same time. So that is a low stress testing. There's another test called endurance testing. It's like a more like similar to performance. Endurance testing is like a you're just seeing the durability of application, like what it does with the same amount of load and running for like overnight or maybe longer period of time. So you continuously run and see how durable it is as it's going through all these transactions, all these business rules being executed during the longer period of time, and see what it does. So if there's anything that's system wise, any network bandwidth shortage or any leakage anywhere within the system. So that can be captured by doing that performing endurance testing. So these are little descriptions. Then you can also learn yourself by um, uh, finding out all these tests. If you Google this, there's a description there. But this is what's being done in a testing industry, and as a test engineer can be performed. So anybody perform as a, I'm just giving you the knowledge, sharing the knowledge with you guys. You guys not going to be involved on it, but you need to know how many types of testings are out there and how it's been done and what's been done. So not necessarily you have to do all of that, but having a knowledge is always plus. Knowing about testing is a plus. So for loading performance testing, endurance testing, durability, endurance testing, small stress testing, those are done by load and performance test engineers. So there's the person or that can be separated from Sdet engineer, or also the person knows the Sdet or Sdet engineer. They can also know the other tools. It's not limiting them from learning anything. So it doesn't mean that if you're an Sdet engineer, don't limit yourself. You can learn anything is possible, anything you can. So that's why we're sharing all the knowledge with you. Then if anything fits according to your need, then you can just go out and probably educate further on that particular area, or at least you have knowledge about it, and you can start off with by identifying or helping out the team and saying it, and you can gain knowledge as you are helping out. So those are the testing available, and testing's been done and performed on a different task and a different project. So you may come across any of those, then yeah, I know about this, and this is how it's been done. So that's kind of provided input or help to the team. Okay, I can let me see what you said. Okay, I cannot see PDF. Okay, no. Oh, okay. Sorry, I mean no PDF actually has described this. So this was like a testing, and I was just telling those it doesn't have any of the written documents. I was just talking of this document, basically what is the software testing and how many types of software testing in out there. So like there's various types of software testing. So if you look at some of those are listed over here, so like a different testing, like static testing, dynamic testing, those kind of stuff, unit testing, integration testing. There's another one, integration testing. So integration testing is like when you're testing the multiple systems integrated together. If you have an application like right now, especially the government sites, they do have more of a system integrated together. So therefore, they've been like testing the entire system together, make sure that from one system you can test all the applications together, and there's no issue with that. So that's how integration testing is being done. System testing, basically, your overall system that you test is including like application and also the bandwidth network and everything. Make sure that everything is working properly. There is no latency. There is no um, break or disconnect on a network, while you are performing testing. So make sure everything. So the entire end-to-end system testing is being done like that. So there. Okay. So there, yeah, these are some of the testings that I have mentioned, and this been performed on a testing areas like software, with the software development industry. Basically, this is what they do most of the time, based on the requirements. So if not necessarily you would be doing all the testing at the same time on same application. No, you might be doing functional regression testing, like as an engineer, functional regression most of the time that you be doing. You might be doing the smoke testing, smoke test suite you're going to be running. Regression testing, functional testing, yes, you'll be doing that. So functional test cases are built into regression suite, and you're going to be running the regression suite. Smoke testing, you may have to do smoke testing, maybe create a smoke testing suite. You may have to create ad hoc testing suite. So based on what kind of testing, what they're looking for, and the direction is going to come from the team lead or the Scrum Master or the project managers, basically. So, and also your opinion matters too. Like you can suggest based on the best of your judgment on the application. So you can also suggest that too. Like, this is the way it can be more effective, or more helpful. That if you do test it like that, so there will be, more coverage and stuff like that. So yeah, so that is basically when you suggest probably your suggestion will be most honored and respected to the team than their opinion. But you can get the requirement from what they're trying to do by doing this stuff. Like they say, let's build a smoke test. Okay, my question would be, as a SDLC engineer, what are you trying to accomplish from the smoke testing? So that would be, we would like to just make sure that run the script and daily basis and nothing is breaking like all of a sudden when we're deploying a new code. Then yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so in that sense, then I'll go and look in the area of which way and how what can be included in my smoke testing suite. So one by one, I can identify it and then kind of present it to them. Okay, this is the smoke test suite, that these are the areas and these are the module I'll be testing. That doesn't make sense. So if they look at it because they're more familiar with the application, and they might agree to it and say, yeah, great, go ahead with it. And you get green signals, you proceed and develop your test scripts. So that's how it's been done in a real world. So you're going to be, as you start developing your test scripts, and you will enjoy and you'll learn and you'll kind of feel that this is a real environment. This is how it's going to be done in a real environment. So it's like, it's 1:15 now. Is it okay that if we all go to lunch break and come back in half an hour?
Sure, brother.
Okay, so we'll be back in 1:50. If that sounds right. Yeah, 1:50. Okay, everyone. So please go ahead. Have something, grab something to, and be back in half an hour, inshallah. I'll see you in half an hour. Thanks.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. we can wait for a couple of minutes, maybe everybody else to join. Then we're gonna go ahead and discuss further on these documents. What we have discussed yesterday and today, and I'm gonna walk you guys through some of the homework assignments. Can you all hear me? Can you confirm that can someone pick up and say if you can hear me? Can you all hear me? Hello? Brother Shudeep, Brother Samsul, can you hear me? Hello? Can someone please confirm if you can hear me? Brother Allah Khan. Okay, thank you, Shako. Great. Thanks for confirming that via chat. So what we covered yesterday and today, basically for the manual testing, or you can say SDLC, SDLC, and DLC. So we have covered up what is software testing and how many types of software testing there, and why software testing is necessary. And also we covered SDLC, and also within the SDLC we have covered up DLC, defect life cycle. Today we covered test plan, test cases, requirement traceability metrics, which is RTM, defect log we covered yesterday, and also again today we covered along with our test cases, showing you how we log defect if there's a defect found, and then at the end we cover a test analysis report. So is there any question from anyone that from any topics of that, or maybe out of the topics what we're going to be doing and covering. If there anything is not clear for you all, you can ask questions, please do so. And if you do not have any question now, if you have any later, you can always post it up on the chat that we have, Google Hangouts. You can post your question and we can answer those questions. And also, if you want to contact us individually, contact me individually, definitely do so. We want to make sure that everybody is aware of what we're teaching and what materials been introduced to everyone. Excuse me. So is there any question from anyone? On any of these topics, software testing, why software testing is necessary, what is SDLC, SDLC, test on test cases, requirement traceability metrics, defect logs, and test analysis report. Yeah, I guess you guys don't have any question. Therefore, I would I'll try to share some documents with. Okay, I'll share this document with you all. This is like a homework assignment. For manual testing, actually it is for also Java Sdet, so engineers, everyone. So manual testing is needed for all testers, like all test engineers. Whether you're a manual tester, you're going to be titled as a software test engineer. And if you are automation engineer, you'll be titled as software test automation engineer. And if you are Java Sdet, also would be a test automation engineer, or Sdet engineer, software development engineering and test, software development engineering test. So your title is going to be that. So based on that, I mean, you would need to know all the testings, the performed, how it's been performed, and what stage and what phase of the testing will be performed, different types of testing. So I would give out this document to you, kind of go through it, and I would ask you to do some homework, like read through the document and write out your paragraph for me on each one of those bullets that I have written out in this document. So what is software testing? Write a short paragraph based on your understanding. So that you're going to be writing what is software testing, like we discussed earlier, like one of the brother, I think Shdip mentioned. So that was great that the second day of the course, like the first day after going through maybe not even half an hour, that but at least he was able to tell something off of it. And you can definitely take the help of the documents that I have provided, and also understand the document, and then provide your input or your understanding I see some of the folks are did not come back, so mm, so we're gonna go ahead move forward anyway. The class is going to be ending soon, so these are the homework document that viewing, and I'll share that with all of you. So what is software testing? Why software testing is necessary? You write a short paragraph on that. What is SDLC? You don't have to write a detail. You write a short paragraph on that. What is SDLC? Like try to cover up what is SDLC, and what is a test plan? What is a test cases? Now, when you are writing a test cases, write a short paragraph about a test case. What is a test cases? And also, you're going to create a test case by following the template that I'm going to be sharing with you. You can use any website of your choice. You can use Cyberbully Insight if you prefer to. So this is what you guys are going to be doing for the homework. What is the requirement traceability metrics? Also, you're going to write a short paragraph on that one. So basically, by giving the homework for you guys to kind of go through the materials and understand the materials, and it will give us the understanding of how much did you understand the materials, and if we need to work on describing or explaining more in further details, then will help us to determine that. So, what is the defect log, bug log, right? Also a short paragraph on that one. So you're going to be, what I would like you guys to do when you are writing your test cases, try to create a bug. It can be fake bug. It not necessarily has to be there. You can pretend like one that has, or you can go to the Cyberbully site and write up the same bugs that I have found, or if you can find some other bugs there. If you can do that, that will also kind of give me understanding of that you understood what the defect log is and how you log the defect. So you can customize the log defect log that I would provide. Write your name, fill out all the fields that on that form, and then you can attach it to the email and send it back to me. Also, what is the test analysis report? That you can write out that test analysis report, what is in there. So if you look at test analysis report and what is it, it's just write a short the paragraph on that too, and send it back to me via email so we can discuss those next 2 days of next week's classes. And also I'll go over probably demonstrate some of the automation that you're going to be doing, like as a Sdet engineer. I'll just give you just a little bit of overview of how it works and what you're going to be doing basically. Then we'll move on to section 508 the following week. So after section 508, we're going to start doing the Java core language for five weeks, and then we'll be going into Selenium. So learning Java at the beginning, from the beginner level to somewhere the advanced level, where what you need for the Selenium and to perform your automation task to automate scripts. So that's what's going to be taught in a Java class and Selenium classes. Java classes and Selenium classes. So yeah, until then, try to learn as much as you can from these documents, practice it, and don't get scared of thinking that there's a pile load of documents that I know that you have to do daily basis. No, you don't have to. And believe me, this is very easy. just to understand the materials. And when you understand the material, it will make your job easier when you're at the job in the real environment. So, well, this was previous, but I'll modify that to the date. We can, let me modify it now before I forget. So, so 4 days is good enough. Like on by Thursday, if you can do our homework. Is it okay, everyone? So you guys can spend some time. And believe me, this is necessary to spend some time and do some homework. Like all, not only this one, it's gonna be when you do Java or Selenium. You know, you'll need to do a lot of practices. So get into habits of doing some practices. Um, so I'll set up a due date by 12, which is Thursday. Okay. Under COB Thursday. So homework due by COB Thursday, basically close of business. Okay, close of business is like about 5, but you can do it before midnight on Thursday. So I'll receive those on Friday. I can look over and I can get this ready for our Saturday discussion. Now, if you need any help, you can contact us via this email, or you can send me email directly. Let me put that on. Please contact us for any help. I'll put my email there.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, brother. It should be 07 July 12, right? Or
Yeah.
the homework due by?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So you can contact me directly, send an email directly, Murshid.ahmed@7billion.com, and I'll receive an email. All all your homework you can submit via this email. Okay. Let me convert this to. Okay. So I have this document created, and I'll email it to you guys. Please try to spend some time, and your commitment, your time, actually, what you can utilize to learn. I mean, I can give you, we can, as a cyberbullying team or instructors, we can provide you the guidance and show you how to do things, but you have to do it on your own. At the real world, you're going to be out there working. Yes, we are committed to provide also the support at work, like life, as we said, throughout the career. So when you're joining a job, after learning it, we think that you're ready for the job market. When you go to the job market, you get a job. And after joining it, like if you have any difficulties at the job, then we'll definitely will help. You can ask questions on anything that you have learned or anything that you would like to implement. We'll be helping you out, but you have to be the one to implement it. So same thing what we teach over here. If you do not practice yourself, if you don't participate in a homework, if you do not participate in a group discussions, group sessions, and presentation, coaching, then you're going to be lacking behind, and you will not be able to learn or advance yourself. So it is very important. Please be commit yourself and sacrifice yourself. I know that everybody is busy with some sort of task or some responsibilities that we are working professionals. We have a family to take care of. Some of us have kids. Some of you probably don't have kids or the family, but still you're involved in some other task or responsibility. I know that, but you have to overcome with all the obstacles, all the difficulties, in order for you to achieve something. So nothing is impossible if you put your mind to it and try to achieve it. So you have to put your effort, 100% effort, to get something would benefit you in the long run. So is everything so far clear and understandable? If everything clear, if there's no questions, I'll go ahead forward this documents to you guys. I'll forward this Word document as I wrote down. You can kind of copy, save as a copy, and probably work on that copy, or you can work on it directly, however you prefer. If you need any help, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll try to help. We'll open up a session probably. During the weekdays, I'll be at work, but if you post any message to the group chat or Google Hangouts, and I'll be able to respond, or one of our instructor will respond. You'll get instant reply, but if you send an email, also you can get a reply back, but will be available during the weekdays after 7 p.m., sometime 8, depending on how late we get off the work, because there's some different schedules during the summertime. Kids don't have no school, so sometimes we go to work late and come home late, so depending on our schedule. But yes, we'll be able to help you evening during the weekdays if you need help on when we start conducting our Section 508 testing. I'll be probably doing 1 or 2 of the group session during the weekdays, because there's some testing needed, and there's some documents that may have to explain it a little deeper. So that week, and we will have another class also combining to this session. So there's going to be more students in a class. So we may have to cover up during the weekdays too for everyone's better understanding. So I'll go ahead and email those to you guys. And if you guys don't have any questions, don't have anything to discuss, any questions regarding the class or this subject or any other topics that you want to discuss, please feel free to ask me the question. If not, if you want to ask later, that's fine too. So however you feel it. And I apologize for not distributing the video. I would have a video sharing actually to our YouTube channel.
Brother, I have like a question, like where I can get the presentation demo.
Who's this?
This is Sudip.
Okay. I'll send out the video link.
Okay.
I think probably you were not forwarded to that. I'll send you out
All right,
the
brother.
video link, and you'll get the orientation. You'll send the orientation video, right?
Yes, you sent it to me already.
Okay, yeah. So I sent it to you, right, already? Did you?
Yes. Yes, brother.
Oh, okay. So you clicked on that. I think you were added. You were directly given to it. So if you can click on it, you can view the video.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you,
brother. Okay, sure. Thank you, brother Alad. You do the same thing. Remember that I asked you to log into the web link, and also there's a number there in your email. Disconnect your phone, brother Alad, and connect it again. Okay, can you talk, brother Alad? Brother Alad. Anybody else have any questions? Brother Alad, if you can call that number 646-749-3122. Yeah, let me okay, brother Alad, if you can call this number and enter this PIN number, and that should allow you to speak. Can you talk now, brother Alad?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks. Yeah,
Okay.
Some glitches before that.
Yeah, I heard everything you say, all the classes I'm all to, but my concern is that now why I cannot ask you, and I don't think you can hear me. That was the problem.
Right, because you are muted. So what I would do, probably after the class session, maybe we can just do a troubleshooting on your PC and your login. So I don't know if you're going to be able to come by to my house or to the mosque or anywhere, or I can probably stop by whenever, or we can do an online session and see if we can troubleshoot your issue.
Okay. After Isha tonight, I will try to join the Isha tonight. If not,
Inshallah.
Definitely, inshallah, tomorrow I will join. If I cannot join tonight Isha, I will join the Isha prayer tomorrow night, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, inshallah. I mean, we can troubleshoot it anytime. Yes, inshallah.
Okay.
We'll look into it, and I'll definitely, we need to
Thank
resolve
you.
that because you're going to be attending the other classes too. So
brother.
if you guys
Yes.
do not have any other questions, then we'll end the session for today. And I'll send out all the documents, rest of the documents to you guys, and also homework assignment documents that I have just created. So please work on those documents and send it back to me. Okay, and if anybody have any questions, anything, please post it on the chat or email me. Inshallah, we'll try to solve all your issues or any obstacles. And till then, you all have a great weekend, and inshallah, we'll meet again next week, next weekend, Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, is everyone okay with that?
Yes, I'm okay with that, brother. Thank you.
Okay,
Assalamu
great.
alaikum.
Sure, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
All right, brother.
Okay,
Take
thank
care.
you.